All right, it's 7 o'clock. It's actually 7:01. At this time, I'd like to call the Crystal City Council meeting to order. Let's start with roll call, please.
Councilmember Kamish.
Present.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Budashevsky.
Here.
Councilmember Cummings.
Here.
Councilmember Eidbo is absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have an agenda before us. Looking for a motion on this agenda. Go ahead, John.
So moved.
All right, thank you. Second?
I'll
Go ahead, David.
I'll second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So, March 2023 is Women's History Month, so we're going to do a proclamation for Women's History Month. Whereas the City of Crystal is committed to recognizing and honoring all members of our community. And one of the city's priorities is that Crystal be a city which all feel welcome. Whereas the City of Crystal benefits from having strong women leaders in our community at all levels, including volunteers, staff, commissions, boards, councils, and whereas when women succeed, our community prospers. Therefore, I, Jim Adams, Mayor of the City of Crystal, do hereby proclaim March 23rd as Women's History Month in the City of Crystal and call upon all women or all residents to acknowledge and honor the contributions and accomplishments of women, dated the 7th day of March, 2023. So, next on the agenda is an appearance. We have our Chief Revering, here to address the council, and you have some awards today.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. When you started talking about the Women's Month, I started to step forward thinking it was my turn, and how ironic that you just talked about Women's Month. So, in any event, I did not mean to do that. So, as you are very much aware, those of you who have been on the council a long time, we really enjoy bringing our officers before you and the great work that they do. I'm in complete awe of every men and all the men and women that work for our organization, and it is a pleasure for us to be here tonight, and thank you for allowing us to be. If I can have Officer Tim Simon, Officer Marcus Issa, and Officer Nick Schwalbe step forward. Well, Nick can't step forward. He can roll forward. Wow, look at that. Okay, be careful. Okay. On November 24th, 2022, officers were dispatched to a cardiac arrest with CPR needed. The reporting party stated his wife was passed out in the bathroom and had been there for 20 minutes. Officers Tim Simon and Marcus Issa arrived and located a 55-year-old female unconscious with a pulse. In talking with the reporting party, it was discovered the female may have used heroin. Officer Simon administered Narcan to the female and removed her from the bathroom. After carrying her out of the bathroom and reevaluating her, they found that she now did not have a pulse. Officers began performing CPR and rescue breathing on the female while getting her attached to an AED. After a few minutes of emergency care, the female regained consciousness and was able to talk with the officers, confirming that she had recently used narcotics. She was transported to the hospital for evaluation and stabilization. The Crystal Police Department Life-Saving Award is presented to department personnel who save a human life in imminent danger of death through the application of medical efforts, and is being presented tonight to Officers Simon, Issa, Fechtow, who is not here tonight, and Officer Schwalbe for their quick actions during this medical emergency.
I'm just going to wave. I've got a really bad cold. I have a cold. We'll just wave.
Thank you.
I have a cold, so I'll just wave. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I promise we don't have Nick on the road right now. If I could have Officer Andy Robles step up, please. Officer Andrew Robles has been assigned to the Crystal Police Department Traffic Officer position for the last year. Though not an expectation of his traffic position, Officer Robles commonly works towards zero-death DWI and traffic safety enforcement shifts outside of his regular duty hours and has done so for many years. Officer Robles embodies the mission of the Crystal Police Department by reflecting the call for service through his efforts. He consistently and with quality provides that service through enforcing traffic safety throughout our community. Evidence of this is bountiful. Officer Robles has been recognized numerous times by the Minnesota Office of Traffic Safety for his outstanding and consistent work. This includes receiving numerous recognitions for being a DWI All-Star, recognition by Minnesota Mothers Against Drunk Drivers for DWI enforcement, and receiving several hat-trick awards for arresting 3 or more DWI violators during an 8-hour shift, including twice in the last few months, one shift where he arrested 4 DWIs in one shift. Along with his work in DWI enforcement, Officer Robles contributes to traffic safety in the city by his consistent traffic enforcement work on a daily basis. He has become an informal leader within the city and regional traffic safety group he is a member of, and it is common for Officer Robles to recruit co-workers and officers from other agencies to join him for traffic safety projects throughout the city. This all happens while still being available to assist his partners with other calls for service occurring in the city during his shift. The Crystal Police Department Mission Award service is presented to department personnel who embody the mission of the Crystal Police Department by reflecting the highest traditions of law enforcement profession, going above and beyond the call of duty through their outstanding or consistent and high-quality acts of service towards the community, and is being presented tonight to Officer Andy Robles for his constant commitment to making the roads in our community safer for everyone through his dedication to traffic and DWI enforcement.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. And as you can see, we do have family members that are here, and it's very important for the families and loved ones of our officers to be able to enjoy this with their family and be able to show you what a great work that they have done. So thank you again for allowing us to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate hearing these things. We invest a lot of time and money into this department, and I can't tell you how much we respect this department and what you guys have done in our community, and we absolutely love you, and thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda, where the council considers the following items, which are routine and non-controversial in nature, and we do that in a single motion. First item is the approval of the minutes from the following meetings. First meeting is the regular work session from February 21st, regular council meeting from that same date. Approval of the list of license applications submitted by the city clerk to the city council. That list is on file in her office, and the adoption of a resolution accepting donations. So that is our consent agenda. Looking for a motion on that. Go ahead.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second.
I will
Go ahead,
second
Teresa.
that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Open forum. Do we have anyone here wishing to speak during open forum?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Nobody here wishing to speak during open forum. All right, we will skip by open forum and move on to the first item on the regular agenda. The council will consider disbursements of $25,000 or greater, and I will read those into the record at this time. Kraus Anderson Construction for the police station is $27,673. Laketown Electric Corporation for the police station is $40,548. McDowell Company for the police station is $129,123. Wildcat Cleaning Service LLC for the police station is $29,826. And then Vertra for firearm training simulator is $29,777. Is that pronounced right, Vertra?
Yeah.
Excellent. Golden Valley Joint Water Commission for January water costs is $568,206. Logis for application support, hosting, and licenses and fiber for $44,101. MinPara for employees and city required contributions for pay date 2/17/2023 is $67,147. IRS electronic payments for federal and FICA withholding taxes for pay date 2/17 is $66,119. Total disbursements of $25,000 or greater is $1,119.08. I'm sorry. $1,002,523.61. Boy, my eye jumped on that one. All right, any questions on any of these items from the council? Seeing no questions, looking for a motion on this. Therese?
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures over 25,000.
All right, John?
Second that motion.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next item is considering civil penalties for violation on a tobacco license for Clever Liquor, and Chrissy is here to address the council on that.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. As you are aware, Crystal Police Department conducts tobacco compliance checks for licensed businesses in Crystal. Last quarter in 2022, tobacco compliance checks were conducted, and as a result, Clever Liquor did not pass that check. The employee of the business pled guilty in court to the offense, and notice of the violation was emailed and mailed to the licensee on February 22nd. This is considered a first violation for this licensee. Therefore, consistent with the civil penalty schedule established by the council, staff recommends a $750 fine and 1-day license suspension. And I am happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions on this one? Go ahead, John.
Just for my clarification, first offense, and then what is the fine and the penalty?
Councilmember Budziszewski, yes, this is a first tobacco license
Okay,
offense.
great,
and
there we go.
Yes, up to $300 to $750 is the range. Staff is recommending a $750 fine and a 1-day license.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. So, if you don't have any questions for Chrissy, we'd like they're present, you said?
Mr. Mayor, I did not hear back from the licensee as to if they are here, so I believe they are not here this evening.
Okay. All right. So we can't have them come forward. They're not asking for a hearing. So we'll move forward past that. Discussion amongst the council in relationship to this topic. Yeah, go ahead.
Historically, on first offenses, do we do the 750 or do we?
It varies. It varies. I mean, it is our discretion. Oftentimes, it depends if they come, and it depends on what happens. There's differences of opinion on this council. Some people want to just go max every time, and then there's others who want to try to put a little bit of discretion into it. Historically, what the council has done has been increasingly closer to the maximum if it progresses. So that's kind of been the history.
I could weigh in on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the past, there wasn't a lot of wiggle room in terms of the penalty, and we didn't have a lot of them come back the second time. They were much more diligent about checking IDs and not selling to minors. So ever since we saw that the penalty change would vary, that we would see like more second and third offenses
Sure.
as a result.
All right. Any conversation specifically about this case? All right.
I can make a motion if you so choose.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. I make a motion that based on the staff report, including the findings contained therein and the other information presented regarding this matter, that a penalty of $750 and a one-day license suspension be imposed in this case.
All right, so that's the maximum penalty. Any further discussion, or looking for a second, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tracy.
I'll second.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Too many papers. All right, next we have, Chrissy, why don't you go ahead on the next one?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Again, this violation is same circumstances as the last one. Holiday Station Store did not pass the compliance check, and an employee of the business pled guilty in court. They also received notice of the violation at tonight's meeting via email and mail, and this is considered a first tobacco violation for this licensee. $750 fine and a one-day license suspension is recommended by staff, and I also did not hear back from the licensee in correspondence as to if they would be attending tonight's meeting.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Chrissy on this one? Go ahead.
Yeah, my question, so like on the resolution number, it says 50 to 750, and then it says statutory is the minimum is 300. I was just wondering if I could get like an explanation on what that difference is. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
So one sheet says the, oh wait, maybe I'm looking at individual. Is that different from the licensee? Oh, never mind, I'm looking at individual. Thank you. Compared to a licensee, so, never mind. All right, that explains it.
All right. Any discussion on this case? All right. Looking for a motion. Go ahead, John.
I make a motion that based on the staff report, including the findings contained therein and the other information presented regarding this matter, that a penalty of $750 and a one-day license suspension be imposed in this case.
All right. Do I have a second on that?
I will second that.
David, thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Why don't you continue?
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. Lastly, Mini Grocery and Tobacco also did not pass the compliance check, and an employee of the business pleaded guilty in court to the offense. They also received notice of violation of tonight's meeting via email and mail. This is considered a first tobacco license violation for this licensee. A letter from the attorney representing the business owner was provided to you related to this violation, and I believe both the attorney and the business owner are here tonight to speak with the council. Staff is recommending a $750 fine and one-day license suspension.
All right. Any questions for Chrissy on this one? Seeing none. Could we have the individual please come up to the podium?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members.
Good evening.
This is my client, Majid Nishajoon. He is the owner and licensee of the tobacco shop, Mini Grocery and Tobacco. And
When you're talking, could you please step in front of the mic and point the mic towards you? Could you bend that down a little bit towards you?
certainly.
That way we have people at home have a better time hearing you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Go ahead, sorry, I didn't mean to
Sure.
interrupt.
This is, again, I'd like to introduce Majid Nishajoon. He is the licensee for the tobacco shop with Mini Grocery and Tobacco located at 2708 Douglas Avenue. I have submitted a letter to the council. The council has read that. Really what we'd like to do is tell you a little bit about the remediation efforts that have taken place since the incident on September 22nd. Mr. Nishajoon, immediately after the incident, removed the employee that had conducted the sale and purchased approximately $4,000 point of sale system that automatically checks licensing or licenses prior to the register's opening or any of those pre-sale pieces of making sure that the license is both a valid license and a license that is obviously of age. I would like to have him say a couple of words if that's all right with you. I did visit the store this evening. It's a very nice location. I did look at the point of sale system and spoke with the employee that was working there. I think that for a first violation, especially with the remediation efforts that have gone on, that we would be hoping that we would get a bit of a downward departure, closer to the $300 without the suspension. And Mr. Nishajoon would like to say a word.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. I changed everything. I changed the system, and I talked to the people, and we want to comply. And I have other tobacco store. We don't have any ticket. We don't sell any underage. And I talked to the people. I changed the system. The system now, I have this good system before, but the new one is very expensive because he's asked the ID for anybody he's buying the store. And the store is very nice area, the Crystal. I'm new here. Like I bought the store June 22. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's close to my residence, so I'm very familiar with the changes that have taken place there. Any questions? Go ahead.
Can you explain to me how the system, records the information from the driver's license or the ID?
Okay. The grocery store and the tobacco store and other store, I have a couple of stores, is different cashier. The cashier is different. We have the cashier, only the cashier, he's put the price and that's it. We have other cashier, when you scan one sell like Marlboro or something, he's ask you how old are you, or he's ask you the ID for the customer. Now, when I talk to the employee working with me, he's asking for the ID. He's never forget, because the system he doesn't go through if doesn't ask the customer how old are you, or he is giving the ID. The new system, we have very good technology.
So are you scanning the ID or are you entering?
He's asked how old, he's like under 21 or.
And so
Yes.
so you're not entering that information in order for the sale to go through, or you're just looking?
He's never sell under 21. When he's ask the customer for the ID or under 21, he's ask him, please, I need your ID. Now, before when I ask him, he said, maybe I forget, or I see the customer is very tall or something like that. Now, no. Any customer, he's come, when you scan anything, he's asking for the ID.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's more or less, it
Yes.
produces a reminder notification to the
Yes.
cashier to ask for ID.
Yeah, and I changed the system camera. I put this camera on my phone. And the store too. We have any problem when he said blah, blah, I see him in the phone. I check in the phone, everything.
So you're on site, or you're remotely being able to check to see if he's looking at the ID?
Which one?
yourself, you said you can see it on your phone, or?
No,
Oh.
I see the phone, everything in the store now.
Okay,
After that, I put a new system with the system camera too.
okay,
I see everything, and he's asked anybody for the ID, and I don't need any trouble with my business. I don't need lost my business.
okay,
I have a couple of stores too.
yeah.
Yes.
Approximately, what do you do in tobacco sales on a daily basis?
What?
How much sales do you do in tobacco on a daily basis?
In the Crystal or different area?
In Crystal, in the Crystal store.
A Crystal, the average store, because this is tobacco and the grocery, every day around the $2,500.
$2,500
Yes.
tobacco sales per day?
Tobacco and the grocery, together. When you check the statement, we have like, because this is grocery and tobacco.
Okay, so, of that, would you say?
Tobacco around 1,200, 1,300.
1,300 a day?
Yes.
Okay. So 1 day suspension would be significant penalty on your business.
It's up to you. You are the-
So just so I'm covering everything, you're not asking for a hearing, you're just having conversation, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you I just needed to tick that off because that would change exactly how things go. Did we have any comments from the chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Just to make sure you understand, during this specific incident, the employee did not ask for any identification. I just want to make sure you understand that.
Yeah, I read the police report and it was, honestly, when I compare the different violations, this one seemed like one that I would be a little bit stronger on, just based on how the interaction went in the store with the employee. That's why, I'm more of a proponent of having a little bit different types of penalties. I don't tend to do that for people who show up or don't show up. I tend to do it for people who show up. However, coming into it, just looking at the paper, this is the one that I wanted to go a little bit stronger on, just because of the cooperative nature of the incident when it happened. That's my opinion. I'm not interested in doing leniency on this particular issue. Are there any other questions for these gentlemen? Go ahead.
What kind of training do you give to your staff members when they're hired?
Anybody who's want to train in the store, I give him 3 days train. If he doesn't work with the tobacco store, just 3 to 7 days.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Your glasses.
Thank you. If I may, Mr. Mayor, just briefly, just the individual that was at that store that particular day was immediately removed from his position. Just wanted to make that clear, so thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any further conversations or questions for these gentlemen? Go ahead.
That particular employee, it said that he was just helping out because you were busy sweeping in the parking lot. Did he routinely ring up tobacco sales prior to that? Was that a part of his job, something he did a lot?
Who's the guy when he's ticket or the other employee?
The one that got fired?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's not working with me now. Yes, when he's take the ticket, and I told him, you're never working with me. And I talked to other people too, and my other stores too. I don't need any trouble with the license. Yes, and the store is not busy because you can see the couple car in the parking lot because this is mall plaza, not only for.
All right. Last chance for questions. Seeing none, you're welcome to sit down. Thank you. Motion, anyone? All right,
You make a motion. Sure.
go ahead.
Well, a couple comments. I hear you about, with how the situation unfolded, being less lenient, but I do want to be lenient still because they came to the hearing and, came to talk to us, and they've, put a new system in as well. So, I'm not sure where we'll fall on that, but, maybe not as low as we would have for another thing, since that was kind of a poor interaction, but That's just my kind of thoughts on the fine.
Interesting, okay.
I agree with David.
I agree too. I would opt for some leniency. They put in a $4,000 point of sale. They redid how they do their training.
I'm surprised, okay. How do you feel?
I just think that, we need to be consistent. So I would stick with the staff recommendations in this case. And, they have the system now and they'll never be back. That's my feeling, is how that works. And I just think that these one-day suspension is important. I think that that needs to be done. And likewise, $750, I think is, you just don't forget. In the past where we've been lenient, we've had second and third repeat violators, and I'm not willing to compromise, so.
I'm looking at this particular case, what happened when it occurred, and that's why I tend to fall in that same camp. So I'm repeating myself. I'll be done. All right. Let's see where this goes.
All right, I'm ready.
John?
Okay. I make a motion based on the staff report, including the findings contained therein and the other information presented regarding this matter, that a penalty of $750 and a one-day license suspension be imposed in this case.
All right, looking for a second? I'll second that. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, looking for a second motion? Go
Good.
ahead.
So I'll make.
Or do you want to have a
Wait, we gotta have
conversation?
a.
Conversation.
Oh, roll call, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Point of order.
Councilmember Camish.
Nay.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Nay.
Mayor Adams.
Aye.
Councilmember Budaszewski.
Aye.
Councilmember Cummings.
Nay.
Motion fails.
All right. What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking a $500 fine and a one-day suspension, a little bit of leniency, but still acknowledging that, the interaction with the employee that was terminated was very poor and did not go well, but still, a little bit of leniency with the fine, but still having a one-day suspension.
Okay, can you guys get behind that?
Does the suspension, it affects the whole business, not just the tobacco sales?
Just the tobacco.
Oh, it does just affect, okay.
Yeah.
So they could continue selling groceries that day.
Yes.
I would make a motion at $300 fine and one-day
I
suspension.
agree. If we're gonna do the one day, can we do the?
Okay, you're not making a motion, you would like to.
Okay,
Okay,
sorry,
it's just-
you're
we're
right,
in
you're right.
discussion at this point, let's be clear. Okay, so 300 and one-day suspension, you both kind of want to go that route. I think you're splitting hairs at this point, I would support either. 300?
Yeah, that works, yeah.
All right, let's do one motion one more time, let's not go back and forth. Terese?
I'll make a motion to fine them at $300 and a one-day suspension of tobacco products.
Looking for a second. Go ahead.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Tracy. All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Camish.
Aye.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Aye.
Mayor Adams.
Aye.
Councilmember Budaszewski.
Nay.
Councilmember Cummings.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we are on 4, right? Get on the right page here. No, we're on 5. All right, next we'll talk about the mill and overlay project. We have engineer project manager Ben Perky here to address the council. Welcome, Ben.
Good evening, Mayor and council members.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize. The presentation has disappeared from the screen, so I need a moment to bring the presentation back.
Okay, we'll stand by. So, Ben, do you have any entertaining comments? You could-
Want me to do a dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as we introduced Ben a while ago, so Ben is the new Mick. So Ben's primary things are overseeing our mill and overlay project, and then he'll be the city point person in our utility reconstruction. So while we do contract with SEH, their primary goal, quite frankly, is babysitting the contractor. Ben's primary role with that is working with our residents, whether it be communications, dealing with higher level problems, and just kind of keeping his finger on the pulse of that. So that's kind of the context. Here, he lives and breathes this project you're gonna see, and so that's why this is a great opportunity for him to present to you all. So with that, looks like we're set to go.
All right.
Page up and page down.
Perfect.
There we go.
So, brief overview of the project is a 2-inch mill and overlay, full width of the road of 36th Avenue from Douglas Drive over to Highway 100. Along with that, we'll be doing concrete improvements to the curb and gutter, sidewalks, and pedestrian ramps. On February 21st, we had our bid opening, which we received 10 bids. The lowest bidder was T.A. Shifsky and Sons, Inc., with a bid of $609,632.90. Our available budget for the project is $882,000, and with our open bid costs, including the contractor's amount, along with our professional services for materials testing, comes out to be $617,771.90, along with a $61,777 contingency. We are still $202,000 below budget. Tonight, council is being asked for a motion authorizing the contract for the 2023 street resurfacing project. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Go ahead, John. And then-
Boy, maybe I'm jumping the gun on this, but the surface material testing, is that new to our road reconstruction? We always had that in the past?
Yes, we have.
This is the first time I've just seen it as a specific line item, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so it's always been included in the total amount, but this is the first time we're actually talking about doing something like that, correct?
So usually you actually award this as part of the utility reconstruction project contracts.
Okay.
But because of the timing, this one came first, which is why you're awarding this contract now as
Right.
compared with utility reconstruction.
Okay, that's
But the
fine.
approach has always been the same.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Therese?
The company chosen to award the contract to is T.A. Shifsky, correct?
Correct.
Have we worked with them before?
It's been a long time since we have, I believe you have, correct? I personally have experience with this contractor prior to being employed with the city of Crystal, yes.
Okay, any qualms about hiring them again?
No, not at all.
Great, great. One other question, how long is this gonna take, and is 36 going to be open while this happens, or?
During our milling operations and our paving operations, we're gonna be having the road closed. During all other work, there will be at least one lane of traffic in each direction open. Our specification for this project said that it had to be completed within 30 days. So if this goes forward with this contractor, they will have an option for a start date, and then we just have 30 days from that start to have it completed.
Okay, and so how long will the road be closed completely?
Yeah, so just quick clarification on that. We're working with the contractor for fully closure of the road, as Ben said, while the work is taking place. So while the equipment's physically on site, so between roughly 100, as close as well, potentially probably closer to a dare. That would be where the full closure is, just because that is too much traffic to try to route them through. So while that's going on, that'd be the full closure for the few hours that was taking place. Okay. We'd open it back up again. For the portion from, again, somewhere between Welcome and Adair to Douglas, we'll probably do that under traffic potentially, where it'll be, one lane in each direction and kind of flipping it around as the work is taking place.
Okay.
We're gonna try to really work with the contractor. 100 to Welcome is the busiest section of the busiest city street, and so we will be a little more aggressive on traffic control there because it's a safety concern, whereas as we get further to the west, it's not quite the same. So we also have 2 schools there, so that's another part of the conversation we're gonna be having with the contractor.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, David.
I was curious, maybe because so many people bid, how was it, $270,000 under budget? Just by chance or?
No, pure skill. No, so when we've budgeted out 10 years of mill and overlays, and so We just put in a fixed amount.
Okay.
As we were talking with staff about what projects to do this year, we decided to do 36. And so from the start, I believe Ben's estimate was 640,000. So it actually came in on his estimate for what it would be. It's just because we programmed this out so far in the future, that's why we're so far under.
Got it, that makes sense, because it seemed like a very large gap there, and I was just wondering, if there's something that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes total sense, yeah, cool.
Go ahead, John.
Just to chime in on that, I mean, 10, right? 10 bidders for a project, I mean, that seems kind of high too, so, I mean, I think in the past we've had a much smaller number, so this is a pretty good sign, I think.
Interestingly, go ahead, sorry.
And part of that just has to do with the timing of our bidding. History has shown the earlier we bid, the more contractors were gonna get interested because they're looking to fill up their schedule for the year.
Good, good.
Other interesting trivia fact, we actually had 10 bidders last year for this project as well.
Cool.
What we're hoping is really with our utility reconstruction, that we see this kind of response as compared to the fewer that we've seen on that project.
That'd be nice, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Are you gonna talk about materials testing at all, or no?
You have this item and then materials is next.
Okay, great.
All right. Looking for a motion on this one? Go ahead, John.
I make a motion of awarding the contract for the 2023 surface restructuring project to T.A. Shifsky and Sons Incorporated.
All right, looking for a second. Go ahead, Tracy.
I'll second.
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, Ben, you're up for a second round.
So the next item is the 2023 construction materials testing. Each year, the city does contract with one testing firm to cover our projects. This year will be the street resurfacing project we just discussed, and then the 2023 utility reconstruction project. We submitted a request for proposals to 3 different testing firms, all of 3 which responded on February 24th. The lowest being WSB with a proposal for $29,238. So tonight, council is being asked for a motion authorizing the contract for the 2023 construction materials testing. We'll take questions.
All right, John, you had one?
Yes, I did. So they're testing, so you grind up the street and you take that material and reuse it in the road itself. Is that correct? And so they're testing that material?
Not for the street resurfacing project?
Or for the mill and overlay, right?
Yep, for the mill and overlay.
Yeah.
Yep. So what they'll do with that is they're gonna mill it only down 2 inches. Our pavement section on that road is thicker than that.
Right.
So all those millings are gone, and then we're bringing in all new pavement for that top layer.
Oh, and they're actually testing that material?
They're testing the new bituminous for that, and then as well as concrete work that'll be done, that'll need to get tested as well.
And so so obviously when the asphalt shows up, they're on-site testing it, right? And same
Correct.
thing with the concrete, when it comes off the truck or whatever, when it's still in the liquid form, that's when they're testing it?
Correct.
Okay, and they're looking to see if it has enough, a grit in it so it's not brittle, right, I guess, or how would you describe it?
For the concrete testing itself, they will be doing, air tests just to make sure that it meets spec, as well as water tests to make sure that that meets spec. And then they also do sampling, which they form cylinders, take them back to their lab, let them cure over time. And then they do a break at 7 days and 28 days. And there's a certain pressure that they can't break under. Once they hit that pressure, they can break whenever. And that lets us know if it's pass fail. If it's failed, then the concrete needs removed. It's not an approved product.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you learn something new every day, don't you? Right? Oh.
Other questions on this one? My question is, earlier in, I guess, some of our projects, we had some problems with some of the bituminous. And this is kind of a history project. Were we doing testing back then as well?
So I think, are you talking about the seal coat peeling off?
No.
So I'm not sure. So I know the seal coat's been an issue. I'm not aware of any pavement.
Because we had some on the street reconstruction in some of the phases.
When it first started,
Oh.
Way
okay.
back when, way before your time.
back in the
Is that?
70s.
I'm not, so So in all fairness, that was the late 90s is when the project started.
Right.
I'm not sure what the testing requirements were there. One thing I just realized standing here is that because this is a state aid project, our testing requirements are higher than just if it was just a city project where they don't have the state aid funding. So it's just a little nuance and why the price is a little higher. I'm not really sure on the details on what that pavement issue was. I know in the late 90s, I think they had a different mix design than they have now, if not two mix designs different. So I'm really not sure what the history is there.
So potentially we didn't have a company that came in and tested that material that went down, or is that just more or less we got?
So what I would need to go, what I would do to look into that was look and try to figure out where it was. Because if they were stated roads, they should have been subject to state aid testing, which is a little bit higher than just some of the other testing we do for our in-house pavement stuff. That would be the first thing I would check is where the issue was relative to where, was it a stated road or is it a city designed street? And then dig into the testing that was done there, and then kind of really what mixed design was used.
So the question really that we're getting at, are we doing anything now, like in our street reconstruction with the utilities? We are doing testing?
So we do,
on
yeah, we
our
do
own
testing.
city streets?
I think that, again, without knowing, I would say the mix design change is probably, I mean, there have been some bad, you know this better than I do, there have been some bad designs that MnDOT has standardized over time that have changed. So that's where I guess I would have the most confidence is that the whole just design of the asphalt we're putting down is a lot different than it used to be. As far as the testing go, I'm not sure what testing was or was not done back then, but we are testing and we haven't had issues since I've been here.
Right.
Which,
right.
not that's me, but.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I agree with that. I think our roads are in great shape, and I mean, I look at some of the surrounding cities, and I drive through them, and they have potholes that are massive. They're creating a lot of damage to vehicles, and so I'm impressed that our roads have held up as well. I mean, I can't think of any places where there are potholes here.
So one thing I do want to say for all you viewers at home, if you get a pothole damage, most likely it was on a county road. You don't contact the city, you contact the counties. We've been getting a lot of pothole ones, and every single one I've seen, with one exception, has been a county road. Yeah. And I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Just a quick question.
Go ahead.
So with the testing and say that the road failed somehow, like cracked, whatever, is that like a warranty of sorts? Do they come out?
Yeah, the way the road would fail probably wouldn't be a crack. It would be, and let me know your thoughts on this, it would be just the pavement would be weak. You'd see like a settlement or like a major deformity, and we'd actually probably come back and mill it up again.
Okay.
That's how I presume that would go.
All right. Well, you expose a line item with something we haven't seen before, and all kinds of questions come out, right?
If you are bored, I would recommend pulling some YouTube videos of crushing concrete. It's not bad.
Oh, nice.
Learned something new.
Okay. All right, thank you. Looking for a motion on this one? Go ahead, John.
I make a motion awarding the contract for the 2023 construction materials testing to WSP, thank you.
All right, Tracy?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Next is the council considering approval of a letter commenting on the Blue Line extension. We have our Community Development Director, John Sutter, here to address the council. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Mayor Adams, council members. On the dais in front of you, you'll see a printout of what I'm about to put on the screen here. There we go. So this is the same letter that was in your packet with a couple of changes that were made at the suggestion of Councilmember Ipo on pages 3 and 4. They're highlighted in yellow. On page 3, replacing pedestrian cut, referring to the Elmhurst crosswalk, replacing the word cut with refuge, which is a better description of what the purpose of it is. And then adding a new sentence on page 4 to the section 9 on public safety. For the project to be successful, Metro Transit must include design elements in the area of the station and park and ride that are consistent with the principles of crime prevention through environmental design. So I guess the staff request for you tonight would be to either make a motion authorizing the city manager to send this letter to the Blue Line Project staff, or if you have additional changes to the letter, to include that in your motion as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I do have a bunch of graphics loaded up if we need to look at them, but we've looked at them quite a bit. I know you're all probably tired of seeing them, but they are there if you do have questions.
All right. Any questions for John on this? Any changes? Comments? All right. Looking for a motion on this one. John, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve a letter commenting on the Metro Blue Line extension design scenarios.
All right, David?
I will second that.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next, the council will consider a resolution appointing council member Camish as Crystal's representative to West Metro Fire Rescue District Board of Directors. City Manager Adam Bell will address the council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This item was continued from the February 21st meeting. There's been several council meetings discussing this appointment. But essentially, this is a continuation of the last discussion where the two motions had failed in ties. I don't know if there's any questions, but we do have an odd number of council members this evening, so I don't expect a tie, but
Okay.
here we are.
All right. Any conversation? Any more discussion?
I just have a couple questions or
Sure.
comments. So, previously we talked about my experience or whatever, and I just wanted to add, I do have over 25 years working in a hospital setting where I work in the OR, in the ER with trauma patients. I'm CPR certified, trained on working with an AED. I work with EMS. So I'm directly involved with trauma cases. So, on top of my relationship with public safety through the Crime Prevention Board.
All right. So before we go to the point of a motion, I know there's considerable resistance to this, right? Can we have a conversation, or are we just not going to have a conversation? Can we support with this idea? Is I guess my question. Go ahead, David.
Well, I was just, coming into it, I thought John made sense with his experience in prior years sitting on the board itself. That's just where I was kind of leaning as we've been discussing this, so that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, yes, he has some experience. Yes, he has experience on the council with relation to West Metro. There's a lot of history there that we can start diving into if we want to dive into it, which we can talk about what some of that history looked like. It was a tumultuous time, and at the moment, I'm not willing to step into that idea. I just want to kind of see where you guys are at, and if I have to, I will step into some of that history and what that looked like. Did you have a comment?
Well, I think Tracy's experience is admirable. I think John's is more relevant. He has been on the fire board during controversial times, and was on the fire board when they appointed Chief Larson. I just think his experience is more relevant to currently serving on the fire board.
Okay. Did you have any comments?
I think we're good. I think we've heard everything I had to say.
Okay. I guess I'll go into some of the thing that gives me pause. I mean,
Would you like to make a motion?
not yet, no.
Huh.
The thing that gives me pause is when there was a vote in the city here to disband West Metro Fire, you were on the council. And that was the beginning of a very tumultuous time. And some of the challenges that happened with that was, I remember sitting in the fire station actually watching the council meeting. And what happened in this chamber was a council that came forward and put out a motion to disband West Metro Fire. And it was voted on, it passed, which started the dissolution procedures. And I remember what really struck me was when Julie Deschwa said, so are we allowed to talk to our constituents now? Which, it really showed kind of what the transparency wasn't. In that process, a lot of things did change over the next 2 years when you were on the fire board, and some of the tumultuous things that happened were from the decision that you helped make on this council for West Metro Fire. The next 2 years, we got to see it was actually the next couple of months where we got to see us come together in 2 cities and get on a path to reunite. But there was still an awful lot of damage done. I would have really liked to have seen a little bit more problem solving as opposed to taking your ball and go home type attitude. And that's some of the history that I lived through. And I think it's time for someone new. I think it's time for someone fresh who doesn't have the history, who doesn't have necessarily, I guess, the reputation of what all that was. It was destructive. It was destructive for.
Well, Mayor, I challenge you to pick someone else then. I mean, there's other people on the council here who have experienced going through the budget process, have sat through many a fire board presentation. Pick one of them. I challenge you to that when you won't do it.
Pick someone else? What's wrong with Tracy?
Well, how long have you known Tracy?
How long have you been on the council? Oh, a few months.
And how long have you known all of us? Years.
Yes.
Yeah, and why won't you pick one of us?
There's a lot of decisions that went into it, and the balance of the different responsibilities, it was an obvious choice. It was an obvious
It doesn't
choice.
seem obvious. It's not obvious. I mean, this happened before with Councilmember Banks. You're doing it again with Camish.
What am I doing?
You're picking someone who has not been through a budget cycle and putting them on the fire board. That's the issue.
I think she's capable. I think she's
We
more than
we had that,
capable.
we made that point already, that anybody on this council is qualified to sit on that fire board.
So why is it that you don't want Tracy on the fire board?
Because you asked me. You asked me what board I wanted to be on, and I said the fire board, and now here we are. You refused to have a discussion with me about that.
You wanted to be on the fire board because you're the most experienced. Why am I not on the fire board?
I don't know. Nominate yourself, sir.
Pardon?
Nominate yourself.
I'm not going to.
Why not?
Because I don't believe that's the proper place for me to be.
Okay, all right.
We experienced a mayor in that position in the past, and that was in the same period of time. It was just your predecessor on the fire board. The mayor was on the fire board.
We're talking about, what's her name, Lori Ann Moore.
No. Aren't we talking? Am I missing the proper representation? I thought you replaced the mayor.
I replaced Lorian Moore.
Okay. You were a citizen rep?
No, I was on the city council. I was the Section 2 council member.
Yeah, go ahead.
What year was this? Was this 08 or
No, this was
2010,
2011.
2011?
2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious.
Hold on.
Anyways.
Hold on.
I believe 2013 is when your council member was appointed to replace, at the time, former Mayor Bowman,
That's what I
who
remember.
was the citizen rep.
She was the citizen rep.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, no, because we didn't have the citizens rep then. We had 2 members of the council, I think, on the, didn't we at that
Well,
time?
there were 2 council members.
2 council members.
But one was designated a citizen rep and the other. And
Okay.
So that marks.
Anyways.
That marks some of the times there was a little bit of, between Crystal and New Hope, there was kind of trying to bring this together, and politicians were involved.
And we've bridged that gap. We've moved on. We've got a better relationship.
Yes,
We have a
we have.
stronger fire department as a result. We have a great fire chief, correct? You know, I mean, everything seems to be working the way it should be.
I'm talking
We
about
made some
your, I'm
major
talking
changes
about
to the
your
board.
ability to handle things in a way where it's not causing total destruction in the path.
You think I would tear down the fire department?
I don't think you would, no.
Okay,
Not at this
there we
point.
go. All right,
Not at this point.
point settled.
Well, I don't know. There's just a lot of unpredictable behavior. I mean, some of the behavior you demonstrate towards me, some of the behaviors that you demonstrate when you're trying to make a point for whatever social thing you want to make a point of, you demand me to virtue signal. And you have no idea what my views are on that, but you try to put me in the worst light. And you do that routinely. There's a lot of things that you do that aren't really something that I want to see happen in a public forum with other agencies. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, make a motion, Mayor.
I think I will.
Yeah, see if it passes.
Additional comments?
Well, just kind of a comment. I think, John, it gets a little contentious with some of your points.
True.
So I do have some reservations in that regard. But we can, you know, it's not ideal, but we could revisit it, or, you know, if there's issues that come up, we could, you know, revisit this in the future. So that gives me a little kind of better feeling about that part of it. So that's what's popped into my head as we've kind of chatted here.
What do you mean revisit?
Well, can't we, let's say, you know, a year from now, it's, maybe the fire board's gotten a little more contentious, it's not going what we'd want, we can revisit appointments, correct?
I don't want to have to revisit appointments that we've already made this year to balance workload. I think we can go ahead and put Tracy in place. Workloads would be balanced as is, and revisit next time around. I think that makes sense at this point. Any other further conversation? Any other conversation? All right, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Tracy as the West Metro Fire Rescue District Board representative for Crystal. Looking for a second. Go ahead, Tracy.
I'll second.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, do you want a roll call on that?
Sure, roll call vote.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Nay.
Mayor Adams.
Aye.
Councilmember Budaszewski.
Nay.
Councilmember Cummings.
Nay.
Councilmember Camish.
Aye.
Motion fails.
So, what do you want to do for rebalancing?
Can I make a motion?
let's have a conversation.
Okay.
First. Let's please have a conversation. I want to rebalance workload. What are you on that you can give up?
I'm on the park board.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy being on the park board, but I was gonna say, like, for instance, Commissioner Camish could be on the planning commission, if you're looking for more work for her.
You're not on the planning committee.
I'm not.
We're not going to rejuggle everything. Just keep it clean.
I've got a question for John. Are you capable of serving both? Liaison to the Park Board, or Parks and Rec, and the Fire Board?
Yes.
Okay.
That leaves, it's very unbalanced. It's very unbalanced. Would you please consider giving up the park board?
He's said he can do both, though.
Well, I understand that, but we're talking about balance in representation.
Back in December, Mayor Adams, you and I had a discussion, and I wanted to talk about all the commission appointments. And I sent you my
You
recommendation.
gave me my recommendation, your
Yeah,
recommendations.
I sent my recommendations to you, and you never had a discussion with me about those recommendations.
We discussed the recommendations before you sent me them, on some of them. But they're your recommendations. I had different ideas. As the mayor,
You should communicate with all of us on those things.
is there anyone here I did not call and have a conversation with? Well, you're right, I didn't, because we'd already talked. And you sent your recommendations, so I didn't call you, but everybody else was all part of the conversation. I'd really like to see you step forward and try to work with me. That would be great.
And so you want me to just to focus exclusively on the fire board?
Yeah,
Okay. I will.
thank you.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
I make a motion to appoint Councilmember Budashevsky as the representative to the Fire Board.
And,
I'm sorry?
and,
And
Park and Rec.
in Park and Rec, or,
and Tracy to the park.
Councilmember.
oh, and, are you okay with that, Tracy? Do you want to serve? Sure. And appoint Councilmember Camish to the Parks and Rec Commission, sorry. I apologize.
Yeah,
I've
it's
been
okay.
sick for a week and a half. I've been to the doctor. I tested negative for everything. I feel basically okay. I just sound horrible, and I apologize for making y'all listen to it. I'm better at pushing the cough thing, but
All right, looking for a second. Go ahead, David.
I'll second that.
All right, a little bit more conversation. Are you sure you're okay with this, Tracy?
Yeah, that's fine.
And you know what day they meet?
No, I don't. I'll need that information.
First Wednesday.
First Wednesday? Okay.
Yep, 7.
Okay, all right,
in the summer they meet at parks.
Okay, thank you.
all right. Any other conversation? Seeing none, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's it. Announcements. Everybody loves announcements. First announcement is the next city council meeting is Tuesday, March 21st at 7 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall via Zoom. Reminder that council work sessions and meetings are open to the public. They are also online at crystalmn.gov. Previous and current meetings are available for viewing and listening at that location. David, I think you had something else.
Yep, and hopefully I have the date right. The Metropolitan Airports Commission has rescheduled a meeting and a public hearing about the proposed Crystal Airport zoning ordinance changes. It is going to be on Monday, April 17th, and that's 19th? Oh,
19th.
it should be the Wednesday, April 19th.
We're checking.
Okay.
Yep, Wednesday, April 19th.
Okay.
Awesome.
Double check.
Anybody have anything else? All right, looking for a motion. Go ahead, John.
So moved.
Okay, who's our new second person? Go ahead, take it. Yes.
I'll second.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Big job. Second. Second thing.